So if you can't tell, that's not a good thing. Those numbers are rookie numbers. We should be sitting at like 150 psi. If it's tired, about 120 psi. And that's not even the worst one I did. I actually did another cylinder and it was at 50 psi or less. That's not good. So, sorry, this truck, we're going to have to take out its engine. So why don't we just get started? So, we started off by taking off the accessories. For example, the alternator, which, by the way, was in terrible shape. I always put the bolts back where they go when I can help it, because that helps me to save the bolts and not lose them. I was very surprised to see that the thermostat housing bolts were not, in fact, welded to the intake. That is very rare for me, with my luck. I took off the fan and the fan clutch in one go and set that in the back of the truck. I took off the fan shroud and set it in the back of the truck. And with that gone, we need to take out these bolts that hold the radiator in, because we're going to remove the radiator too. And wouldn't you know, I had to take the fuel pump off as well to get to the motor mount bolts. Now we can finish taking the water pump out. So we just take this one off. And then we take this one up. It's fine, the top tank hit anyway, it's not damaged, it's fine. I needed a new one anyway. Let's not forget to drain the oil before we take this thing out of here, because I do not want to get bathed in oil when I turn this thing upside down. Here we are setting up the engine hoist. My brother was nice enough to help me pull the engine on this. We had to do quite a bit of maneuvering of the engine around because it was kind of stuck to the bell housing. All of the exhaust was removed, the starter was, the protecto plate was removed, but it was still just stuck to the bell housing, so we gave it some pry bar love, and it came out. Now, my engine hoist is missing a wheel, so we had a brick under it. I had to go get more bricks because we were pulling it back with the tractor. And backwards it goes. That's about good enough. Now the plan is to put this engine on the engine stand and then use the tractor to haul the engine stand to the garage where I'll be working on it. The garage is currently full of stuff and I don't have room to fit the whole truck in there, but there's enough room for the engine. And it's easier than trying to drag this big engine hoist through the rocks over to the garage. We decided to pop the heads off immediately. Here's your one. Got it? Yeah, I got it. And, I mean, the cylinders don't look terrible. There's no cracks or anything. We later measured the ring gap at least 0.060 inches, which is ridiculous. It should be closer to 0.015, so that's about 4 times the gap that it should have. It's a 4-bolt. Alright, well I guess that's about it. We got that done actually quite quickly. It was about 30 minutes before we were done. And that was including filming and everything like that. So, not bad at all. I don't know what the next video is going to be because I haven't decided what to do with the truck yet. So, I have issues on the Fiero. I think it's either a sensor or the ICM, the ignition control module. It dies when it's in gear, basically. So I'm going to try to fix that. Now, if the Fiero becomes a good daily driver, and I can drive that to work every day, then I might just take the motor out of this Suburban and put it in the truck. Because it's a low horsepower, very reliable thing. I can either buy a carburetor intake for it, or just keep the TBI on the computer, because if I do that, I would be hopefully 6.2 LS swapping the Suburban with a 6-speed automatic, or the minimum like a 5.3 with a 4-speed auto, like a 4L80 or something. The other option is if I cannot get the Fiero to run properly, get rid of the Fiero, keep the Suburban, and then I might just take the crank out of this engine and then have the crank redone, and then I'll take the block and I'll have it go 30 thousandths over bore. And then we'll just rebuild it, throw some Vortec heads on it, and be done. Anyway, that's about all I have for you. If you don't watch my other videos, then you should know that you should be good while I'm gone. And I will see you next time, so have a good week.